Archangel Michael says, "Beloved, this message was crafted for your heart, not today, not yesterday, but 3 weeks ago, as heaven waited for the perfect moment to reach into your soul and pour in the healing you've been crying for in silence, the hope you've tried to hide behind your weary smile, and the love you thought had passed you by forever. What you are about to receive will break you wide open, not to harm you, but to pour the light of God into the places you thought were too broken to ever shine again, and this moment, as holy as a heartbeat in the palm of God, will only be here for a few more breaths before it vanishes, leaving behind only the choice to let it in or let it go. From the moment you entered this world, God's eyes never looked away from you, not even once. His gaze followed you through every laughter-filled childhood afternoon and every night you wept into your pillow when no one else knew the ache in your soul. He counted the tears you hid, gathered them in his hands like precious oil, and whispered promises over each one that they would not fall in vain. Even in your silence, your suffering was loud in heaven. Even when you felt like a forgotten prayer, you were a song echoing through the halls of glory. You are not invisible, beloved. You never were. Heaven heard the way your voice trembled when you tried to stay strong. Heaven saw the way you held others when you were falling apart inside. And so this message was written for you, not by coincidence, not by chance, but by divine assignment, because God knew your spirit would be tired right about now, and He knew you'd need to hear that nothing is lost, nothing is too far gone, and nothing about your life has slipped through the cracks of His love. There have been moments where you stood in the doorway of hope, looking out at blessings that seemed so close yet always out of reach. You've watched others receive what you've begged God for, and in your heart you wondered if maybe joy wasn't meant for you. But child of light, your waiting has never been wasted. God has not denied you, He's been preparing you. You were never being punished, you were being positioned. And though it felt like the heavens were silent, every second of your stillness was a seed planted in holy soil, now ready to bloom in a way that will silence every voice that told you to give up. There is something sacred about your story that even pain could not erase. You have walked through fires that should have burned you down, yet here you are, not as ashes but as a testimony. You are still here, and that means heaven is still working. God didn't bring you this far just to leave you trembling in the wilderness. He brought you to the edge so He could lift you higher. Type 2222 to open the door to new blessings. And now, even as you read these words, the breath of the Holy Spirit is moving across your weary soul like dawn touching the sea, stirring up the parts of you that still believe in miracles, still long for redemption, still hope for a love that never walks away. You may have been forgotten by others, abandoned by those you trusted, and bruised by this world's sharp corners, but you were never discarded by heaven. You were chosen. And being chosen does not mean ease, it means anointing, it means calling, it means carrying something eternal within you even when your hands feel empty. You were never meant to walk this journey alone, and you haven't, not even for a moment. God has been walking beside you, even when you couldn't feel it. Every scar is known. Every sigh is remembered. Every longing is written in the pages of His perfect love. Do not let the heaviness convince you that you are too broken to be used. The cracks in your heart are where His glory pours through. The moments that brought you to your knees are the ones that are building your altar. And right now, as this message reaches your heart, heaven is leaning in, waiting for you to believe again, waiting for you to trust that something beautiful is still coming, even if you can't see it yet. Take this message not as another soft whisper lost in the noise, but as a trumpet from the throne of grace calling you home to the truth. You are loved, you are wanted, and you are being led. Every delay, every detour, every disappointment is being woven into the kind of miracle that doesn't just change your life but awakens your soul. There is a reason for the timing. There is a reason it's happening now. And even if you don't understand the reason, you can trust the hand behind it. There is something about your life that terrifies the darkness, and that is why the enemy tried so hard to convince you that your story was over. The delay you've been trapped in, the waiting room of your miracle, was not a punishment, it was protection. While you were waiting, God was weaving. While you were crying, God was carving a new path. And while you felt forgotten, the angels were being assigned to your rescue. You've been in the middle of a divine strategy that your eyes could not see, but your spirit always sensed was there. God's love for you is not a quiet, passive thing. It is fierce. It is active. It is protective. It breaks chains in the night while you sleep and wrestles back what was stolen from you without asking your permission. This love does not wait for your strength to return before it surrounds you. It covers you when you're weakest. It stands guard at the doors of your heart when your faith is too tired to fight. What if you discovered a tiny, walnut-sized brain region holds the secret to endless wealth and success? Recently uncovered by groundbreaking research and once buried in classified files, this frequency is now available to anyone ready to listen. Imagine replacing worry and struggle with a life of financial ease and freedom. Interested? Click the link in video description and comments below to unleash this hidden brainwave and start attracting wealth right now. Type 2121 if you trust God's plan for your life. And right now, it is roaring through every wall you've built to survive, reminding you that it is safe to believe again, safe to hope again, safe to rest your heart in the arms of the one who will never leave you. You may have been told that you're too much or not enough, that you missed your moment, that your destiny has been delayed forever. But I tell you, those voices were not from heaven. You were not late. You were not left behind. Your story was simply being prepared to carry more glory than you thought possible. You see, the heartbreaks weren't random. The waiting wasn't empty. God was making sure that when He opens the door, no man can shut it, no enemy can steal it, and no fear can keep you from walking through it. This is the moment where heaven gently takes your face in its hands and says, "Child, look up. Look up from the distractions, look up from the discouragement, look up from the timeline the world placed on you." God's timeline is eternal. He does not measure you by your pace but by your faith. He does not compare your journey to another's. He sees your unique path carved by His own hand, and He delights in how far you've come, even when you feel like you've barely moved. His love celebrates every tiny victory. His grace meets you where you fall, not with shame, but with open arms and a quiet whisper that says, "We'll try again together." You've been holding your breath for a long time, waiting for a sign that your life is still aligned with heaven. Let this message be that sign. Let these words be the gentle voice you needed to hear, telling you that God has not forgotten the promises He made to you. They are not buried. They are not cancelled. They are not too late. They are simply maturing in the soil of your endurance. And now, just as the night begins to loosen its grip, the first rays of a new dawn are touching the horizon of your life. Do you feel it? That subtle shift in your soul, that quiet stirring in your spirit, that's the sound of restoration waking up inside you. This is not the end of your story. This is the part where heaven begins to turn the page. And though the last chapter may have been filled with tears and trials, this next one will be soaked in joy, peace, and purpose. The winds are changing. The atmosphere around you is shifting. What once felt heavy will now be lifted. What once felt distant will now be drawn near. And the emptiness you felt in your heart is about to be filled with a love so deep, so healing, that you will no longer doubt if you are worthy, you will know it in your bones. Let go of what was, and open your arms for what is coming. It will not look like the past. It will not repeat the same pain. Type 2020 to embrace joy and strength in Christ. God is doing something new, something sacred, something specifically tailored to your healing. This blessing is not recycled. It was made for you. And it is arriving at the appointed time, not a second early, not a moment late, but right when your soul is most ready to receive it. This message, written for you 3 weeks ago by divine appointment, was waiting in the heavenly archives of God's perfect timing, waiting until your soul was tired enough to listen not just with your ears, but with your spirit. It is not by accident that you are reading these words now. You were called to this moment, drawn here by love so deep it chased your sorrow across time. You were never forgotten. You were being pursued by mercy, protected by grace, and held together by hope, even when everything around you was falling apart. There is a kind of healing that doesn't always come in the way you expect. Sometimes it comes not as a thunderclap, but as a whisper. Sometimes it doesn't arrive on the day you begged for it, but on the day you finally needed it most. And now, as your heart opens just enough to receive, God is beginning to pour healing into places you've kept hidden even from yourself. This is the divine unraveling, not of your peace, but of your pain. And as it unravels, what will remain is the truth of who you really are, a beloved child, precious beyond all measure, and destined for a joy that cannot be shaken. Let these words settle into you like soft rain falling on dry ground. You don't need to prove anything to earn this love. You don't have to strive to be worthy of it. You already are. You are already enough, not because of what you've done or haven't done, but because of who your Father is. His love defines you. His grace sustains you. His compassion rewrites every sentence of shame you've spoken over yourself. He doesn't see your failures as final. He sees your potential wrapped in divine purpose, waiting for the right season to bloom. And now, that season is arriving. Slowly at first, gently, like spring kissing the edges of a long winter, and then fully, with the kind of power only heaven can deliver. You are not too late. You have not missed your blessing. What is coming will make up for what you thought was lost. The restoration will be so complete, so pure, so unexpected, that it will feel like a dream, but it will be real, and it will be yours. You have cried in silence, but now God is singing over you in love. You have begged for direction, but now your steps are being ordered by divine alignment. The doors that closed were not rejections, they were protections. The delays were not punishments, they were preparation. What if the missing piece to financial success wasn't luck, but a hidden frequency inside your brain waiting to be switched on? Once activated, this ancient signal unleashes waves of prosperity, opening doors to opportunities you never thought possible. From sudden windfalls to long-awaited breakthroughs, it's transforming lives daily. Want to see how? Click the link in the video description and comments below to tap into the Money Magnet brainwave and begin your journey today. Type Amen if you believe in God's endless mercy. You are about to see why it had to be this way. And when it comes, you will no longer ask why you had to suffer so long. Instead, you will lift your hands in awe, overwhelmed by the kindness of a God who never let go of you, even when you let go of yourself. Your future is not shaped by what went wrong. It is shaped by what God is making right. And even now, the angels are preparing the way, clearing paths you don't even know you'll walk yet. They are removing the things that were never meant to follow you into this next chapter and opening gates that only obedience and surrender can unlock. This is not just a message. This is a turning point. This is a divine awakening written in the language of love and timed perfectly for the hour your heart was finally ready to receive. Let go of what weighs you down. Release the memories that hold you hostage. Allow God to breathe new life into your spirit. You have been carrying too much for too long, and now heaven is saying, you don't have to do it alone anymore. Let me carry you. Let me hold you. Let me take what's breaking you and turn it into what builds you. This is not the end. This is the rebirth. Every moment you thought no one saw you, heaven did. When your hands shook and your prayers came out as whispers, the Spirit leaned closer, catching every word, storing them in jars of remembrance to be poured back over your life as blessings in due time. That time is now approaching. The promises spoken over you in the silence of midnight prayers are drawing near to fulfillment. They have not expired. They were never forgotten. They were simply waiting for the exact moment when your heart would be ready to hold them with both hands, no longer filled with fear but with the faith of someone who has learned what it means to survive the wilderness. Do not be afraid of the shaking. Do not fear the changes. What feels like loss right now is actually the clearing of the ground, making room for the abundance that has already been written into your story. Your sorrow is not a period at the end of your sentence. It is the comma before the shift. And now, the sentence continues, not with more grief, but with divine restoration that will leave you breathless in its beauty. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are not too far gone. You are being gathered back into grace. You may not feel ready for the blessing that's coming, but grace does not require readiness, it only asks for openness. Your job is not to figure out how it will happen. Your job is to believe that it will. Let your heart loosen its grip on the timeline. Let your soul exhale the expectations it clings to. What is about to unfold in your life is not based on human timing. It's based on holy timing, and holy timing never fails. Type 1919 if you believe healing is yours. Heaven knows the things you've tried to bury, the shame you carried in silence, the regret you held like a secret, the parts of your past that still try to whisper lies into your present. But even those pieces are being rewritten now. The light of God is reaching into places you thought were too dark to redeem. And in that light, your story is being transformed, not erased, not ignored, transformed. What once hurt you will now heal others. What once made you question your worth will now confirm your calling. You are stepping into a divine exchange, where your mourning is being traded for dancing, your tears for laughter, your weakness for strength. And though the world may never see all you've endured, heaven has, and it is honoring your endurance with blessing upon blessing. Not just the kind that fills your hands, but the kind that fills your soul, peace that passes understanding, joy that remains even in uncertainty, and love that never leaves when things grow quiet. There are miracles hidden in the mundane moments. There are angelic assignments being fulfilled on your behalf even now. The weight you feel lifting is not imaginary, it is real. It is the evidence of chains breaking, burdens lifting, and a new season dawning. Heaven is not simply sending help, heaven is sending change. You will no longer be defined by what you lost. You will be known by how you rose. And when the blessing arrives, and it will, you will look back on this moment and remember how it all shifted, how something in your soul awakened, how the tears you wept became the water that nourished the seeds of your future. You will remember that 3 weeks ago, heaven already had this planned. That long before you ever reached this point, God had already written the rescue, the healing, the restoration. He was always ahead of you, never behind, never late, never silent, just waiting for your heart to be ready to hear the truth again. There is a holiness in your brokenness that God never despised. The cracks in your soul were never a flaw in His design. They were openings for light to come through, for compassion to grow, for wisdom to deepen. And even now, the light is pouring through the places that hurt the most. Where you were once fractured by disappointment, you are now being filled with divine courage. Where you once felt abandoned, you are now being wrapped in everlasting arms that never let go. All the years you spent trying to be strong for everyone else have not gone unnoticed. God saw the way you held up others even when you felt like you were falling apart. He saw the way you smiled while silently bleeding inside. You were not overlooked. You were chosen. You were set apart not to be forgotten, but to be formed, shaped by holy fire, not to destroy you, but to refine you. What if a simple 7-minute sound frequency could awaken a forgotten brain signal designed to pull wealth toward you like a magnet? Backed by shocking CIA files and neuroscience, this discovery is now changing lives everywhere. Think of debts melting away, promotions arriving, and abundance flowing freely. Click the link in video description and comments below to experience the hidden wealth wave and let your financial destiny shift in your favor today. Type 1818 to claim miracles and breakthroughs. The strength that is rising in you now is not the strength of your own effort. It is the strength of heaven pouring into your spirit, reviving every tired place with living hope. There are things shifting even now that your eyes cannot yet see. What seemed like silence was sacred preparation. What felt like emptiness was fertile ground. Every "not yet" was actually a something better. And now, that better is moving toward you, not with noise, but with grace. Not with chaos, but with calm. Like a gentle tide returning to a shoreline long abandoned, your promises are coming back to you, not to tease you, but to rest in your hands at last. You do not need to have it all figured out to step forward. God is not asking for perfection. He is asking for surrender. Just a yes. Just a whisper of faith that says, "I'm still here." That's all it takes to open the floodgates of mercy. The divine does not require grand gestures to release favor. It requires trust, trust that even if your hands are shaking, even if your heart is scared, heaven will meet you where you are and carry you the rest of the way. There is restoration coming that will silence every lie that told you you were disqualified. There is love arriving that will remind you that your worth was never in question. You were created with intention, filled with purpose, and designed with glory embedded in your being. That divine spark never went out. Even in your darkest nights, it remained. And now it is being fanned into flame by the breath of the one who called you by name before the stars were placed in the sky. You will see with your own eyes the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. You will feel the shift in the atmosphere, not as a distant hope, but as a present reality. The season of mourning is ending. The time of dancing is beginning. And it won't just be a moment of joy, it will be a lifestyle of peace. You are not returning to who you were. You are becoming who you were always meant to be, free, whole, radiant, and overflowing with grace that leaves a trail of light wherever you go. The people who doubted you, the voices that tried to drown out your truth, the thoughts that told you to give up, they no longer have power over your story. God has taken back the pen. And now, He writes in strokes of mercy, in lines of redemption, and in paragraphs of beauty that your heart never dared to hope for. You will not just survive, you will thrive. You will not just endure, you will rise. And when it happens, when the blessing overtakes you, when the joy becomes your new rhythm, you will look back on this moment and understand that it was never about what was lost. It was always about what was being preserved for you. Type 1717 to affirm your life is in God's hands. What you're stepping into was always yours, it just had to arrive at the perfect time. That time, beloved, is now. There were nights when you felt like the silence would swallow you whole, when the weight of your burdens became heavier than your prayers, and you thought maybe heaven had forgotten your name. But heaven never forgets what it created with such purpose. You were being watched over in every moment, shielded in ways you didn't even see, and protected from battles that would have broken you before your blessing could arrive. You thought nothing was happening, but everything was. You just couldn't see the roots growing beneath the soil. Now, the first bloom is breaking through, and what's coming will not be small. It will be more than you imagined. This message was not sent by accident. It was assigned to you because heaven knows your heart. It knows how long you've waited, how much you've endured, how many silent promises you've kept alive in the dark. You've watered seeds in other people's gardens while your own field sat barren. You've lifted others with words of hope while carrying sorrow in silence. But the season is shifting now. This is the hour when the first drops of rain begin to fall on your own soil, and what you've planted in faith is about to rise in abundance. There is no shame in how long it took you to get here. God was never measuring your pace. He was watching your persistence. The angels saw you try again after every failure. They saw you whisper prayers when your faith was hanging by a thread. That thread, fragile as it felt, was enough. It was always enough. Because you see, faith isn't loud. It's not a performance. It's a quiet decision to believe that love will meet you where fear once lived. It's choosing hope when everything around you says to let go. And you did that. Again and again. And now, heaven is honoring that decision. You will begin to feel lighter, not because the world suddenly became easier, but because your spirit will start releasing what it was never meant to carry. You will feel your soul begin to rest, not because the storm is over, but because you're starting to realize who is in the boat with you. The winds may still howl, but your heart will remain calm, not through your own power, but because you've been reminded where your true strength lies, in the one who never sleeps, never leaves, never fails. The healing that is coming is not just physical, not just emotional, it is deeply spiritual. It will touch places in you that have long been numb. It will bring laughter back to lips that forgot how to smile. It will bring rest to minds that haven't known peace in years. It will be subtle at first, then overwhelming, like the slow glow of sunrise before the full beauty of morning bursts into view. What if you could unlock a secret brain wave that top scientists discovered inside the hippocampus, the very switch that signals wealth and abundance? Hidden from the public for decades, this breakthrough can rewire your mind to attract prosperity faster than you imagined. Picture the stress of bills replaced with financial freedom and new opportunities. Click the link in the video description and comments below to activate this ancient money wave and step into abundance today. Type Amen if you surrender fully to God's will. And when it comes, you will no longer question whether you deserved it. You will simply know, deep in your bones, that you were always loved, always seen, always chosen. Let yourself be held now. Let yourself soften. Let the defenses you built around your heart begin to fall, not because you are weak, but because you are finally safe. Safe in the truth that God is not asking you to carry it all. Safe in the truth that nothing you've walked through has been wasted. Safe in the truth that what's next for you is not a repetition of the past but a restoration of everything you thought you'd lost forever. And when others begin to ask how you made it through, you will not have to explain every detail. Your peace will be your testimony. Your joy will be your answer. Your light will speak for itself. Because when God restores, He does not leave behind scars of shame, He leaves behind signs of grace. You are about to shine not from perfection, but from presence, the presence of the one who never stopped loving you, even when you struggled to love yourself. For so long, you have walked through life carrying burdens that weren't yours to hold. You took on responsibilities in silence, cared for others while feeling invisible, stood strong when no one asked how you were doing, and smiled while your heart quietly bled. And now, God is saying, rest. Not because you've done enough to earn it, but because you were never meant to carry this alone. This is your time to be carried, to be held, to be cradled in a love so vast it silences every fear that ever whispered you were unworthy. The days of surviving are fading. The time of thriving has arrived. You will wake up soon and feel the shift not just in the air around you, but in the air within you. Your spirit will feel lighter, your heart will feel safer, and your future will no longer feel like a distant promise but a present unfolding. The heaviness that sat on your chest like a quiet ache will begin to lift, not all at once, but moment by moment, as love breathes healing into every corner of your being. There is something eternal about what you've been through. Not because it defines you, but because it refined you. The fire did not burn you down, it burned away the lies, the shame, the labels that were never yours. You are not broken. You are becoming. Becoming whole. Becoming radiant. Becoming everything God saw in you when He first dreamed you into existence. And what He sees in you now is not disappointment. It is delight. Not failure. It is fire, a holy, living flame that cannot be extinguished by loss, rejection, or fear. The door that once stayed closed no matter how hard you knocked is now being opened from the other side. Not by chance, but by divine decision. Your yes to hope, your yes to believing again, your yes to standing when it would have been easier to stay down, that yes has echoed through the heavens. Type 1515 to receive peace in your soul today. It has shaken chains you didn't know were still holding you. And now, freedom is coming. Quietly. Gently. But completely. Your heart will begin to notice the difference before your eyes do. You'll find yourself smiling for no reason, laughing when nothing is perfect, exhaling without carrying the weight of yesterday. That's not just healing, that's holy deliverance. That's heaven breathing life back into you. You will walk into rooms and carry peace without speaking. You will touch others simply by being present. Because what God is doing in you is not just for you, it is meant to overflow. You are becoming the answer to prayers you never heard, a vessel of comfort in a world that often forgets how to be soft. The strength inside you will no longer come from defense, but from divine assurance. You won't have to fight to prove your worth anymore. It will be evident in how you walk, in how you speak, in how you love without losing yourself. And most of all, in how you trust again, not blindly, but boldly. Do not be afraid of what's next. The old patterns are not repeating. The cycle is breaking. The chains are loosening. The voice that told you this is just how it will always be is losing its grip. Because a new narrative is being written, and it begins with restoration. With peace. With the quiet unfolding of a future that fits your soul like it was always meant to. And one day soon, perhaps sooner than you expect, you will look around and realize, this is what you waited for. Not perfection, but presence. Not ease, but alignment. Not the absence of sorrow, but the presence of unshakable peace. And you will know in the deepest part of you that it was worth it. Every tear, every ache, every unanswered prayer was not the end, it was the soil. And this, right now, is the first bloom. This journey was never about perfection. It was always about closeness. About coming to the end of your strength so that you could finally discover God's. About walking through darkness not so you'd be lost, but so you'd learn to recognize the light when it returned. And now, that light is returning. Not as a distant flicker, but as a radiant sun pouring warmth into every corner of your weary soul. The coldness of waiting, of wondering, of wandering, it's all melting now in the presence of divine timing. You've been holding on so long, and it's okay to admit that you're tired. It doesn't make you weak. It makes you real. It makes you human. And God honors your honesty more than you know. Heaven isn't moved by polished strength. It's moved by surrender. And even when you felt like you let go, heaven never let go of you. There was never a moment when grace didn't cover you, when angels didn't surround you, when love didn't whisper your name in the darkness. What if a simple 7-minute sound frequency could awaken a forgotten brain signal designed to pull wealth toward you like a magnet? Backed by shocking CIA files and neuroscience, this discovery is now changing lives everywhere. Think of debts melting away, promotions arriving, and abundance flowing freely. Click the link in video description and comments below to experience the hidden wealth wave and let your financial destiny shift in your favor today. Type 1414 if you believe in divine protection. Now that same love is shouting in joy, because you made it here. Through the battles that nearly broke you. Through the loneliness that haunted your quietest nights. Through the silence that made you question your worth. You didn't just survive. You grew. You deepened. You became someone whose roots now run deep enough to hold the weight of what's coming next. And what's coming, beloved, is more than a breakthrough, it's a rebirth. This next chapter will not mirror the pain of the last one. God is not recycling your wounds. He is redeeming them. You are not being led back into old cycles, you are being lifted into new dimensions of peace, joy, and purpose. You will not have to fight the same battles. You will not carry the same weights. You will not beg for the love you once chased. Love will find you now. It will cover you, comfort you, carry you, and transform you from the inside out. There is a sacred turning happening in your story. Where fear once ruled, peace will now reign. Where confusion once clouded your vision, clarity will now break through. And where hope once flickered like a dying flame, it will now rise like a wildfire, bright, strong, and impossible to ignore. You are being called to live fully, to feel freely, to believe again without apology. Not because everything is perfect, but because everything is possible in the hands of a God who redeems time, restores hearts, and revives dreams. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where heaven knew you'd be when this message was written for your heart 3 weeks ago. The timing is not accidental. The words you're reading are not coincidence. They are divine alignment. And they are landing in your soul right when you're ready to receive them, not with suspicion, but with trust. Not with fear, but with full-hearted faith that what's being promised is not a tease, but a truth. Let your guard down, just for a moment. Let your heart breathe. Let your soul feel the embrace of a love that has never once grown tired of you. You don't have to protect yourself from disappointment anymore. God is not the one who failed you. He is the one who kept you standing. He is the one who shielded you in storms you didn't even see coming. And now, He is the one leading you out of survival and into security, out of scarcity and into sacred abundance. No longer will you be known by what you've lost. You will be known by what you've overcome. No longer will you define yourself by the pain that shaped you. You will define yourself by the peace that saved you. And soon, those around you will see the evidence. They will see the glow in your eyes, the calm in your voice, the stillness in your spirit. And when they ask how it happened, you will smile and know, it was not a moment. It was a miracle. Type 1313 to affirm strength through the Lord. Now the season is shifting. The harvest of all you planted in tears is beginning to rise. What once felt like empty ground is blooming with the evidence of unseen prayers. This is not the end of the road. This is the divine beginning, the place where your strength is no longer measured by how hard you fought alone, but by how gently you're now learning to let yourself be carried by love that never lets go. This love is not earned. It's not delayed. It's not conditional. It is here, right now, covering every part of your life with the mercy you never knew you needed but now can't live without. There is a stillness coming over your soul, not because your surroundings have changed, but because your spirit has aligned with truth. And the truth is this: you are loved not for what you produce, not for what you've fixed, not for what you've hidden, but simply because you are. The very breath in your lungs is proof that your purpose is not over. Your presence in this moment is not random. It is the result of grace that carried you when your legs could no longer walk and your heart could no longer hold the weight. You are not being restored to who you once were. You are being rebuilt into someone new, someone wiser, softer, stronger, and more open to the flow of heaven in your life. The fire didn't destroy you, it refined you. The loss didn't define you, it shaped you. And now, from the ashes of all that tried to crush your spirit, God is raising something breathtaking. You won't have to force it. You won't have to chase it. What is meant for you will find you now, not in desperation, but in divine timing. The world may not have seen your tears, but heaven did. And those tears watered the very ground you're about to dance upon. The joy that's coming isn't shallow, it's rooted in the depths of every pain you survived. The peace that's coming isn't fleeting, it's anchored in the storms that didn't drown you. And the love that's coming, oh, beloved, the love that's coming will be unlike anything you've known. It won't demand. It won't hurt. It won't disappear. It will stay. Because it's been sent by the one who never left your side. Do not worry if it still feels heavy. Healing is not always loud. Sometimes it's a slow, quiet waking, a moment when you realize the fear doesn't speak as loudly as it used to, or the ache isn't as sharp, or the lie that once controlled your thoughts no longer carries power. That is healing. That is progress. That is God moving within you, gently undoing what the world tried to plant, and replacing it with truth, that you are worthy, you are enough, and you are becoming whole. What if the missing piece to financial success wasn't luck, but a hidden frequency inside your brain waiting to be switched on? Once activated, this ancient signal unleashes waves of prosperity, opening doors to opportunities you never thought possible. From sudden windfalls to long-awaited breakthroughs, it's transforming lives daily. Want to see how? Click the link in the video description and comments below to tap into the Money Magnet brain wave and begin your journey today. Type 1212 if you know God is guiding your steps. You will not need to perform to be seen anymore. You will not need to shrink yourself to be loved. This is the season where you are known as you truly are, radiant, redeemed, and rising. The light returning to your life isn't temporary. It's a permanent shift. It's not a glimpse, it's a gateway. And what's waiting on the other side of that gate is more than you prayed for. It's deeper than you imagined, and more healing than you thought possible. Let your hands unclench. Let your shoulders drop. Let your soul lean back into the arms that have held you since the beginning of time. You don't have to be strong in the way the world taught you. You don't have to wear armor anymore. Love is your shield now. Peace is your clothing. Joy is your inheritance. And grace is the air that will carry you through the days ahead. One day, and it's coming soon, you will walk into a room and feel the difference. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You will move with ease where anxiety once lived. You will speak with clarity where confusion once ruled. And you will love, deeply and fearlessly, not because you were never hurt, but because your healing is now complete. You have lived through more than many know, and your journey has not been one of ease. You have climbed mountains with wounded feet, crossed valleys with trembling hope, and built joy from the ashes of what others tried to destroy. You learned to survive not by having all the answers, but by holding tightly to your faith even when your voice was too weak to speak it aloud. And now, beloved, heaven is declaring over your life, it's your time to receive. Not because of your perfection, but because of your persistence. Not because you never wavered, but because you never walked away. You kept showing up, even when your heart didn't know how to keep going. You kept loving, even when it cost you everything. And now, the love you poured out into the world is returning to you in waves, purified, magnified, and wrapped in divine timing. You are not being rewarded, you are being remembered. You are not being rescued from failure, you are being restored to fullness. Amen.